years in advance to speak. He speaks over 700 times a year. Will you help me welcome Dr. Kent Hovind?
The two basic forms of government here, the two basic philosophies of government are evolution and creation. If evolution is true, laws come from man's opinion. And you get your rights from the government. The government decides if you have the right to travel.
Wait for what? Every time you see me, you want to mess with me. I'm tired of it. It stops today.
This guy right here is forcibly trying to lock somebody up for breaking up a fight.
If you have the right to do this, all of your rights come from the government.
Everybody standing here, they told me I didn't do nothing. I did not sell nothing. Because every time you see me, you want to harass me, you want to stop me until I'm so cigarette. I'm minding my business.
But if creation is true, then we have inalienable rights that are endowed by the Creator. Ooh, big difference.
Know that the Antichrist is coming, and most of us believe that he's alive these days. But how is it that some man could come in and rule the world for 3.5 years? He has to be standing on a foundation of lies. And we believe part of that foundation is evolution. Our speaker tonight is one of America's best on that topic. He has 15 years service as a science teacher. He has a doctorate in 7 years. He's, for the last 7 years, he's been going across America, speaking out about evolution versus creation. And in that time, he's had 27 debates, never having lost one. Been on some 2,000 radio programs.
So titled to Darwin's book, The Origin of Species by Means of Natural Selection, or the Preservation of Favored Races. In the struggle for life. Ooh, favored races. Charlie, that's not politically correct. Well, back in the 1800s, it was. You see, back in the 1800s, nearly everybody was a racist. A lot of the advanced nations were going to these third world countries to try to colonize them, right? So they could steal their gold and rubies and diamonds for pay the guys a nickel a week, you know, to work for them. You have to understand the climate of the 1800s, particularly the early 1800s when evolution became popular, before Darwin ever came on the scene. Charlie Darwin's grandpa, Erasmus Darwin, came up with everything Darwin did. Darwin never gave credit to his grandpa, by the way, but I'm sure he stole all the ideas from him. But Charlie Darwin, when his book came out in the mid-1850s, 1859, racism was popular. It was acceptable to be a racist. Today it's unacceptable. Darwin thought natives were just advanced animals. Well, that fits with the times. We had slavery in America in 1859, didn't we? Yeah. Civil War hadn't started yet. They bought and sold them like cows. Matter of fact, they packed them onto ships and brought them over here. They calculated how many they could get on the ship. They estimated that 1/2 of them would die en route to the New World. They chained them to the deck and left them for 2 weeks. I mean, that's where they slept, that's where they ate, that's where they went to the bathroom. They didn't move, chained to the deck for 2 weeks. 1/2 of them died. It's no big deal. Just like cows, throw it away, get a new one. That's the way they thought, folks. What's the matter with these people? Well, the problem is their philosophy. They think these people are inferior, and you always act according to your belief. What you believe is extremely important. But be careful what philosophy you have. Man, if your slave gets out of line, beat him. If he dies, oh well, go buy another one. Right? Wasn't that the attitude?
I'm minding my business. Please just leave me alone. I told you the last time. Please just leave me alone. Please, don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Hold on.
Don't touch me, please. Do not touch me. Damn.
Use your hand, buddy.
Where your hand, buddy?
That these people are inferior. Racism was prevalent during the mid-1800s, and when Darwin's book came out, at last, a scientific justification for what we've been doing already. Sold all 1,200 copies in the first day. Racism was popular. Darwin also thought women were inferior. Charlie Darwin said, "A married man is a poor slave, worse than a Negro."
Why don't you go back to your home on Whore Island?
If a professor said that today in your local university, how long would he keep his job? And yet Darwin is considered one of the saints, isn't he?
All right, kids, it is now my job to teach you the theory of evolution.
Oh, boy!
Now, I, for one, think that evolution is a bunch of bull crap. But I've been told I have to teach it anyway. It was thought up by Charles Darwin, and it goes something like this. In the beginning, we were all fish, okay, swimming around in the water. And then one day, a couple of fish had a retard baby, and the retard baby was different, so it got to live. So retard fish goes on to make more retard babies, and then one day, a retard baby fish crawled out of the ocean with its mutant fish hands, and it had butt sex with a squirrel or something and made this.
Why don't you go back to your home on Whore Island?
Retard frog squirrel. And then that had a retard baby, which was a monkey fish frog. And then this monkey fish frog had butt sex with that monkey, and that monkey had a mutant retard baby that screwed another monkey, and that made you.
And a chauvinist. By the way, he finally married his first cousin, Emma Wedgwood. Nobody else would marry him. Would you marry this guy? Strange man. These two folks had an interesting job. Back about the turn of the century back here, between 18 and 1900, Darwin's theory had become very popular. Darwin said we should find thousands and millions of missing links. Well, they couldn't find any. So it became very popular to look for missing links. These two folks went to Australia, and they got the Australian Aborigines and said, you know what, that looks like a missing link.
Hi, my name is Leo Fernando, and I live in Kempsey, New South Wales, Australia. I really like going to other movies. I really like acting and dancing and meeting new people.
Their jaws are bigger. Well, the reason their jaws are bigger is because the Aborigines don't use hardly any tools, and they use their jaws like a vise to clamp down on stuff. When they want to strip the bark off a tree branch, they clamp on it and pull the bark off. You use your jaw muscles a lot like that. The muscle pulls on the bone responds by getting bigger. Any bodybuilder will tell you the more you build your muscles, the bigger the bones get. So the Aborigines have big jaw bones because they use their jaws a lot. That's why. To the people in Australia, the Aborigines, Darwin's body snatchers. They went down and began robbing the graves of the Aborigines because they could sell the bones as museum displays. Pretty soon they ran out of graves to rob, so they started shooting the Aborigines. They rounded them up and shot them. The police were involved in this. A missionary, a New South Wales missionary, was the horrified witness to the slaughter by mounted police of a group of dozens of Aborigines, men, women, and children. 45 heads were then boiled down and the best 10 skulls packed off for overseas. Here's the article right here. Shot them, cut their heads off, boiled them down, and sold the bones. Why? Well, the Smithsonian was buying a bunch of them. They have 33,000 in their basement right now. You could make big money. If you had a human skull that looked slightly deformed for some reason, man, it'll sell big. They were desperate for evidence for evolution.
This Christmas.
Yes, we look similar.
Dada.
No, I'm not your dada. No touching. Stop it.
Make sure nobody comes in or out.
No.
Stay. Stop. No. Stay. Stop.
So there you go. You're the retarded offspring of 5 monkeys having butt sex with a fish squirrel. Congratulations.
Ah! I can't take it anymore!
April 20th, 1999. A day that will forever have notorious significance in the lives of Americans. A day in which 2 teenage boys externalized their anger in the form of a shooting rampage.
Yep, you see.
Columbine. The boys dreamed of killing thousands. For investigators, the big bombs changed everything. The scale, the method, and the motive of the attack. It had been indiscriminate. Everyone was supposed to die.
Kids, you tell kids in school, hey, you shouldn't steal. Well, why not? Because God says you shouldn't steal. That's why not. But if there is no God, what are you going to tell them? Because it's not nice.
In the video, they can be seen honing their skills by firing at trees and bowling pins and marveling at the destruction they can cause.
Tree exit.
Left the SWAT team in tears. Bodies poked out from under tables, looking as if they tried to hide, but failed. 2 bodies, however, were there for everyone to see in plain sight, those of Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, in the halls laughing as they killed people. They weren't crazy, as most people believe. Neither one complained about bullies picking on them. They boasted about doing it themselves. He was happy.
And I begged him for 10 minutes not to shoot me.
He was happy.
Kids, you tell kids in school, hey, you shouldn't steal. Well, why not? Because God says you shouldn't steal. That's why not. But if there is no God, what are you going to tell them? Because it's not nice.
And it's the fact that they had a lot of hatred towards people in the school.
Both boys arrived at murder gradually, and their progression was documented in pages of journals and hours of video footage. The shooting left unparalleled devastation that went far past physical death, and to heighten awareness in preventing events such as Columbine.
Well, that won't cut it. We've lost a whole generation because of our philosophy we're giving them, folks. Yes. See, America was a constitutional republic when we started, because our founding fathers, even though they weren't all Christians, but a lot of them were, Bible-believing Christians. But they had a biblical philosophy. They gave us a republic. When Ben Franklin walked out of the building, one of the ladies said, "Mr. Franklin, what kind of government did you give us?" He said, "A republic, if you can keep it." Republics are hard to keep. We've lost ours, folks. We are not a republic anymore. We have degenerated to a democracy, and the next step is totalitarianism. We're that close to becoming a totally socialistic and then communistic country in America. You watch, it's going to happen real soon. We've become the land of the free and the home of the slave. It's happening. Charles Darwin wrote this book, it's right here, The Origin of Species, 1859. Of course, after the time. Anyway.
Welcome to the Prophecy Club, where we study and research Bible prophecy. Our topic for this segment is Evolution, Foundation for the Antichrist.